To Shine Today podcast varsity squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I have a fun conversation with a transitional coach who I immensely respect, Miss Susan Hensley. Her background in journalism, being in front of the camera, corporate world, kind of leadership coach, and actually getting the message out there in the way that she does with, I'll just say crayons. That's how I'm going to start it off right now. But listen, and she goes deep into her transitional process for you that takes you back to a point where ego's gone, need to impress anybody else is gone, which is going to help you unleash your creativity and move forward in life. I had so much fun. I have pages and pages of notes. I got a free book giveaway at the end. So make sure you stick around. And the book is absolutely fantastic, which I've dug into and basically implemented into some of my coaching business. So thank you, Miss Susan, as well. So without further ado, here's my really good friend, coach, transition, messy, awesome sauce, Susan Hensley. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have a guest that I am immensely excited to interview. She has like these artful transitions. I kind of went through her course, which we'll get to at the end. But myself, I can't even draw a stick figure. But I know that I could still take the course and level up my life as well. And who I'm talking about is my friend Susan Hensley, who's a transformational coach, speaker, and author dedicated to helping people navigate life's transitions with joy, creativity, and resilience. With decades of experience as a corporate executive and leadership coach, Susan has a deep understanding of the challenges and opportunities that come with major life challenges. Drawing on an extensive background in HR, coaching, and journalism, Susan's mission is to empower people to unlock their inner wisdom, creativity, and sense of play, which we dig here at Time to Shine Today. During times of uncertainty and change, through workshops, speaking engagements, and one-on-one coaching, she guides clients to rediscover their authentic selves and infuse their lives with more color, meaning, and joy. And Miss Susan, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, it's blue. If
Blue.
anyone watching video, I'm wearing it. It's a turquoise. It's because it's both calm and it's got an energy. It's the color of the
Yes.
sky, water, all the
Yes.
good stuff.
Yes. I'm blessed to be looking at it to my right, the Atlantic Ocean here. So I love blue's my jam too. So I love it. I love it. So let's get to the roots of you, Miss Hensley. Like, kind of tell us your story because I've seen corporate. Was there like corporate burnout and you just kind of leveled up into like kind of helping people transition, or like talk to me a little bit?
Sure. So there's a little bit of everything, as I think most of us end up having, right? Original career in television journalism, followed that path, had a family, made a hard pivot because that kind of work schedule, I was anchoring till 11:35 at night,
Mm.
working emergencies, didn't align with my values or my husband's of how we wanted to raise a family. Moved over, took a corporate job, worked through that. It was great company, had planned on staying. I was there 23 years, had actually planned on staying many more because of the quality of the company and the opportunities I
Yeah.
had. But about 7 years ago, I started art journaling. Then the darn pandemic hit, and that made everything about work and the size of the
Wait, what
company
pandemic?
and what my job was.
What pandemic? I'm kidding.
What pandemic?
I got
You
you.
know, it is. I love that you said that because we're through and you don't think about it, but it is reverberating
Wow.
in
It is. It
people
is.
still,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And it was during that, and I doubled down on this fun little practice, which I call sort of art journaling. I'm talking about
Yeah.
scribbling,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And making a mess. I love that you said you maybe can't really draw stick figures. I can't either. Literally, I draw smiley faces, hearts. This is not about producing
Thank you
art.
for saying that. Thank
It's
you for
all
saying that.
process. It's all play. For your listeners who ever get into any brain science, it's moving you from the left side of your brain, highly analytical, drives us to be productive, to hustle, lots of great things, but to that right side where, if you will, our intuition lives, where we find some peace, some joy, and you get there through some play. And we all need that. Times are intense, right? We're
Absolutely.
moving, we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. And it's funny, like what I do with a lot of my clients is when they're feeling something they're just not off, I'm like, throw up on your keyboard, right? I'm like, don't punctuate. Who cares if the little red marking saying you spell it wrong? Just keep going. Let it rest for 24 to 48 and then revisit it. And I'm like, dude, you have an idea and a path for you. right? And that's what we work together through what they put with that. So I'm seeing maybe a parallel from what we're kind of talking about as well, a little bit, what you do.
No, it's an absolute parallel because
Okay.
what you're doing, and that's exactly the right kind of thing, there's lots of ways to get there, is you're shutting that internal critic and you're letting flow. You are expressing what you're feeling, and then it percolates. It's somewhere safe, right? You've just put it in the document on the keyboard or journal or
Yeah.
written little scribbled on a page, collage, drawn screaming faces, drawn happy faces. Who knows? We're
Right.
all those things.
Right.
But then after a while, you start to revisit it. The key that you're doing and I'm doing is we're creating a space and container as all of that arises, that
Yeah.
sort of complex sets of emotions.
Yeah. I love that you said creates a space because that part of creates root words creativity. So it almost like you can unleash onto the world the good side of yourself, right? In a sense where you can really forge forward. So I got to ask you, like when you made so you were, I'm thinking you were kind of an anchor on TV back then.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Back in the day, that
Yeah.
was all my education. Like I said, spent 11 years moving through different markets and
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I can see if you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, she's stunning and she's so well spoken. So I can see that working out. And now, when you made that move into kind of corporate for the values of your family, which is awesome, it was there kind of like people say, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Like you're being seen. Like this is trying to touch that Susan ego a little bit, being like, hey, what are you doing? Like, why you want to move this way? And how did you handle that?"
So that the ego and I call those really almost success scripts that we really buy into, right? That my worth,
Yeah.
you get it, right? I
Yeah.
saw you
Yeah.
almost spit your drink there laughing.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
And we get really hooked on
Sure.
those and we believe they're us, right? And
Yes.
I'll tell you, there was a grief process in the navigating transitions, coaching I do, and the art journaling. When we end something, even if we choose to end it, right? We don't always get the choice. I chose to leave this career and this job I had worked really hard on. There is a process you need to go through where you do miss that and you have to shed that skin and you can't rush that. So getting used to being someone else and starting a whole new career sort of at the bottom
Right.
was a shift, but it was really also healthy. I got through that messy middle. And what a lot of people making career transitions, I don't know if this is true of your listeners, you have skills that you don't know you have if you're making a big career switch. If you're going from one thing to another, the skills may not be obvious. But what I realized those years in TV, anyone who served in the military gets this, how to get stuff done,
Yeah, you
right?
do.
You
Absolutely. Yeah.
understand deadlines. 5 o'clock comes, it doesn't matter what happens. You're producing a story, you are on live.
Right.
And that skill translated really well and helped me in my corporate career
Ooh.
when I had to rebuild. I thought I'm
Wow.
starting from new and I know nothing. The truth is, I actually knew how to deliver under certain
Yeah.
circumstances and not say I need these things to be perfect. So when I do any form of career coaching, it's you got to really spend time understanding the skills you've built and what you have and how they translate. And believe it or not, playing with color and art journaling can help you find some of those. Doing anything that's a little bit of creative helps you see yourself in a different way.
Ooh.
It isn't just the way society sees you.
Right. It and so yeah, I love that you mentioned deadline. We be in the military and doing 6 tours. It's like we knew what we had to do in the time. And obviously, with you being in journalism and being in front of the camera, it's like accidents or events don't happen on your schedule, right? They happen on there, and you have to be on time and see that. And okay, so do you work with people one on one a lot, or is it more of a group setting, or what's your kind of platform there, Susan?
So I do both.
Okay.
I do personal sort of life coaching when someone's going through a
Yeah.
big transition. I also
Yeah.
do executive and leadership coaching for companies.
Sure.
Some of the art journaling that's gone really well is I've been doing workshops.
Ooh.
And so then you'll sometimes have a group of people as they're learning the skill. We talked earlier, I have an online course and some
Yeah.
videos because it's such a low barrier activity and it's like 10 minutes a day of
Right.
play,
Right.
people just need sometimes that permission
Ooh,
to get started and see if it's for them, right? It's just another tool to help us. It's not for everyone, but I'll tell you, the people it's for, it's like, ta-da! And it
yeah.
really can sort of help them process faster, recognize how resilient they are,
Mm.
tap, if you will, into, I'd say they're more authentic selves.
Yeah, absolutely. Who they really are. Sometimes they don't even know who they are, especially if they're going into a transition. And that being said, like maybe if you're talking to them kind of one-on-one to make sure that you're the right horse for the course, the right person for them, right? You know,
Yeah.
is there anything that you do or any secret sauce you want to share that maybe helps them find that initial blind spot to where you can start, or do you kind of put them in a creative position? I'm really curious about this.
So there, I'm gonna share the first exercise in a workshop
Oh, thank you.
because
Yeah.
someone listening, they're driving, they can't do it now, but anyone
Stop.
can do this.
Right.
There's a 3-minute what I call sort of letting go
Okay.
exercise that I do at the beginning of a workshop, or if someone's worked up, we'll choose a favorite song of theirs. If I'm in a workshop,
Hmm.
I'll use Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, right? It's just because of the word Shake It Off. It's like you
Sure.
have 3 minutes, choose two crayons. Here's a 5 by 7 small piece of paper.
Yeah.
Go in the corner. This is in a workshop. In 3 minutes, you need to fill that piece of paper with something, but I want it filled, right?
Okay.
So you're not going to spend 3 minutes trying to draw me a perfect whatever that you
Right.
used to draw as a kid. You
Right.
are going to fill that thing. So we put on the music, it's 3 minutes, and the whole instruction is fill it. And I will tell you what I have yet to see as I've been teaching this, people not in those 3 minutes and feel lighter, feel freer, feel playful.
Yeah.
And it's because of all those constraints that there is no expectation as adults. When we're holding crayons as adults, none of us, I've yet to
I
meet the
didn't
adult
think of
that's like,
that. So true.
I'm
Yeah.
going to create something
So good.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
that inner critic, all the societal expectations is just gone. It's obliterated. And the exercise between the music and if you're at home, choose your own jam, right? You
Yeah.
choose something that
Yeah.
you like and the colors, right? You can do it with a pencil and a black pen, right? In the
Sure.
workshop, I give out crayons, but it's only two.
Right.
And you force the constraint. And so it shoots people from that left side of their brain, judging, right over to play. And
Mm.
we do a debrief. It's like, how do you feel?
Right.
Silly, light,
Yes.
free. That flew by. And we just spend some time thinking about, do you want more of that in your life? Look at what 3 minutes
Right.
did for you. It gives most people a little bit of a glimmer and puts them in touch with what play felt like. And it's not, I had to take the day off. It's like I give myself a really intentional break
Yeah.
without that critic, without
Right.
that should,
I
should,
love that
should.
you said crayons and you have adults use crayons because it's like I don't remember, but I remember being young and you give me a crayon in kindergarten or whatever, or even younger, right? The only person I was really trying to impress was like my parents because I'm taking it home to them. And I know that they'll never judge. You
No.
didn't know it then, but you wanted to impress them so much, but we're free about it, right? It's like that's what you're really trying to get them to do.
That is exactly. And I tell them, I love that you said your parents, I asked them to be their own proud parent. My
Oh,
whole
okay.
story with this thing is I ended up going to like a colleagues who actually had a great side hustle as an artist. I went to a little Saturday workshop to
Right.
learn the color wheel. I sat there, I made a mess. It was like this brown, soggy thing of paint. I took it home, I hung it on the darn refrigerator in my house. My husband and son are like, what? What you do when you use the tools that you loved as a kid,
Yeah.
finger paints, watercolors, crayons,
Right.
glue sticks. Oh my gosh, people
Yeah.
love the glue stick,
Yes.
right? Or Elmer's glue, whatever, is it moves you there. And then I'm asking them to be their own proud parent, if you will,
Thank
and to
you.
just give
Yeah.
yourself some praise and reinforcement. It's like
Yes.
building a muscle, but without any like shame or should. It's a play muscle, it's a
Right.
creativity muscle.
I love that. And my Susan, my fiance, we still keep pictures of the kids stuff from when they were younger on the side of the fridge. It's weird. It's like the way our fridge is set
Yeah.
up. But it's just a reminder that everything would make the parent proud, and why wouldn't we be proud? And it just have fun with doing it and the freedom. And so let me ask you something. When you're working with somebody, maybe one-on-one, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you, but maybe never do?
Oh, that's so interesting. I really try and make it all about them, but I think the question sometimes is people can feel very alone.
Mm,
So the question might be, have you ever felt this lost,
right.
confused, scared? Which, of course, let's be clear, I'm going to tell everyone right now, the answer is yes.
Absolutely. No, you're lying. Right.
But
Yeah.
I do think that when we are in a time of big transition and really shedding our skin to become someone new, it's really important to stay focused on growth and moving forward and not stagnating. So maybe that's the other question. Have you ever felt as stuck
Yeah.
as I do right now? And once again, the answer is yes, because the messy middle of transitions, right? Transitions have an ending that we need to honor. They have this really messy middle. In our society, we want that messy part, that long part to be
Yeah.
gone immediately.
Sure. Right.
And it's like two steps sideways, one back, one forward,
Right.
right? And we just want to get there. And there's a lot of sort of patience and exploration that's needed there. So folks don't get stuck and either
Yes.
run back to what they were doing and just
Yeah.
recreate a pattern that may not be working for them. So
I love that you kind of said that, because like Sharma, Robin Sharma, who I have dug into some of his stuff, right, where he says any change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and beautiful at the end, right?
yeah.
And just to have like someone like that, for I'm saying this with all due respect, like dumb it down for
Yeah.
them in a sense, to just take them back to education, because again, that's what they're really kind of needing, is a re-education in it. And the question that you wish they would ask you is the one exact one when I'm in a discovery with the prospective client, okay, is, have you ever been in my shoes and how did you work it out? Like, that's
Yeah.
the exact question. You're like my sister from another mister. I swear, it's like for sure, 100%. Let me ask you, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Many moons ago.
I
Yeah,
believe it's like
absolutely.
40 years. Like next
Yeah.
month, it's been 40 years, 1985, right? So let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Susan. I don't know if it's Hensley yet, but the 22-year-old Susan. What kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not to change anything, because your life has unfolded beautifully, a beautiful family, everything, but maybe to help Susan shorten her learning curve or blast through maybe just a little bit quicker.
Oh, yeah. It's don't, perfection is not the answer, right? I will get there. The
Yes.
intenseness of feeling the need to be perfect at 22 when I was finishing graduate school, starting on that TV career,
Hmm.
very, very strong. I had some rough roads, and that did not serve me. A
Yeah.
lot of what you
You
see
had
me
a lot
doing
of
now is those
barriers,
hard
Susan.
lessons. Well, I mean, it served me that I grew,
Yeah, but
but
you had a lot of barriers. One, being a female, okay, at the time, because I'm sure we're kind of around the same age
yeah.
ish. And I just remember when I was young that I could probably get something a little bit faster or more attention being a male. Again, and I'm not trying to take that conversation here, but for you to be persevere, or have a persistence that didn't recognize failure and push through, that's amazing. So thank you for keep doing it, because what you're doing now for people is incredible with that. And again, I'm just going to use it, dumbing it down, because that's how I would probably thrive with your program, right? Because I need that for that rebirth of me,
Yeah, well,
right?
so why it works
Please.
when we are reinventing ourselves, rebirthing, we are not consciously competent. So the simpler and easier ways to build skill, it's like if you want to get in shape, you don't go lift the heaviest weight you can. You don't go out and try and run a half marathon. Maybe you don't even try and
Right.
run a mile, right?
Hmm.
And so, in a big life transition, the stuff I'm talking about, starting small steps, starting with play and curiosity and some self compassion and encouragement makes all the difference in the world to really sort of taming and managing the anxiety you may have, the other things. Because in reinventing yourself, which we are asked to do a number of times in our lives at
Thank
different
you. Yes.
levels, right? You've
Right.
done it, I've done it, goes so much easier,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? By the art of time.
exactly.
You just you kind of work your way through it, knowing that as long as there's progress, then you'll reach your version of perfection or at least greatness. So how does Susan want her dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date. Hopefully it's way down the road, right? But how does Susan want her dash remembered?
Oh, it's kind,
Yeah.
period. I mean, it's
I love that. I love it.
I just,
No,
I don't
100%.
want to ever have been a jerk. And if I ever was, and intentionally, I just feel like I want to apologize if
Thank
I ever
you.
took myself too
Yeah.
seriously or drove too hard or
Yes.
any of that. Because the older I get, it's like, wow,
Cares.
unnecessary.
I make two New Year's resolutions every year. And one is to make someone smile every day, right? And unless I've hurt you, disrespect you, owe you, or judged you, I give zero that's what you think about me, right? And
Yeah.
it's doing that since 2009 has freed up like everything for me to serve the most amount of people. And just realizing that if I make those two, which are super easy to keep. Now, if I've hurt you, disrespect you, owe you, or judge you, I will apologize, like you kind of said, profusely until
Yeah.
if you want to forgive me, great. If you don't, great. But at least it's out there to the universe,
Yeah.
to your creator, and whatnot. So, what do you feel people might misunderstand the most about Susan?
I can succeed in a very type A world. I can
Yes,
drive.
you can,
I love a
lady.
deadline. I mean, I
You're like, bring
love
it
to
on.
get things done and hustle. And I
Yeah,
think that can be confused. And I've had to work at this to sort of let all of me show up, right?
yeah.
Whether it's my sense of humor, my goofiness, people joke about like your freak flag to be
Fly that
as
freak flag, right?
exactly as authentic as I can and still honor the fact that I really like to get stuff done.
Sure.
And the best way for me to show up sometimes for friends or family members, if they are in need, is to help in that way.
Yes.
And I think that can be if I'm not really careful, I need to own a lot of this to not let my desire, if you will,
Sure.
to get things done in service
Right.
actually overwhelm a situation.
Right. I just see like I kind of live by, again, I use the word credo again, but do what you love in the service of people that love what you do, right? Like
Yeah.
I love coaching.
Yeah.
I'm not a consultant. I know that everyone knows what they want, they just don't know how to talk themselves into it, right? So I love being, my superpower is curiosity, right? So
Yeah.
if I can get it and then I know that that challenge is there, and if they come up with it, they're probably going to see it through with my accountability. Now, if I tell them, hey, do this, I know it'll work, and be like, Fergie, you suck. It doesn't work. But if they come up with it, and I can just see just through your play and getting that out there that they really become their authentic self, their badass authentic self, right? I love what you're doing there.
Absolutely.
So, what is Susan's definition of a life well lived?
Mm. I think it's in service. It's the people we've touched. I do a lot of work with clients and myself on making sure I am aligned to my North Star, that my intentions every day are aligned, that my values are clear. In the online course, we do a whole set on values because understanding what lies behind the value. Different people may look at the value of respect very differently or integrity. It's really understanding how that shows up for me and
Individually,
or
right?
the
Yeah.
client. And then trying to live that aligned. And when I have this image, it's like a pebble going into a pond. I would like my life to have had positive ripples, gentle ripples. I do not
Yes.
want to be a tsunami in someone's
Yeah.
life. Right.
Right. I love that. And understanding what lies behind your values. Because if
Yeah.
someone has them, then we can kind of take them deeper, and then there's the magic, right?
Yeah.
It's like they have it. I love it. Yeah, this is amazing. So, squad, we are going to take my lovely friend, Miss Susan Hensley, through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Miss Susan, next time I'm in Austin, which I'm there 4 or 5 times a year, I'd love to meet for coffee and kind of pick your brain, actually, on a few
That'd be
things that we
terrific.
didn't cover on the mic here. But And we'll talk about some of these questions, probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, whatnot. But today you have 5 seconds with no explanations. And I promise you they can all be answered that way. You ready to level up?
I am.
Let's do this. Okay. Susan, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Bravery,
Yes. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
meditation.
Beautiful. And you see me kind of maybe walking down the street or at an event or whatnot. You're like, yeah, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit. What book might you hand me this really help make a switch in your mind, other than Art for Your Sanity, which we'll get to?
It's a teeny little book called How to Smile by a Buddhist monk named Thich Nhat Hanh.
Put that in the show notes because I've never heard of it, and I'm going to dig into that today. All right. Most commonly used emoji, if any, when you text.
Ah, heart.
Gotcha. Nicknames growing up?
Susie.
Right. Love it. Do you have any hidden talent or superpower that nobody knows about until now?
Huh. Open book, pretty much. So I'm going to give you no. I don't think I've kept it
Very
hidden.
cool. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Oh, Monopoly.
Headline for your life.
Tried.
Love it. Buy into any superstitions at all?
I knock on wood
Me
a
too.
lot.
I love it. Me too. I love it. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Oh, mint chocolate chip.
Love it. That's actually mine too. Okay, here we go. There's a sandwich called the Susie. Build that sandwich for me. What's on it? What are we eating?
Okay, so I'm going to do it on lightly toasted sourdough, some tasty mustard, avocado, turkey, Swiss, lettuce, tomato. I'm going to
Boom.
put on some pickles,
Nice.
maybe even a little cranberry in there.
Ooh, there you go. Dill or sweet? Pickles.
Dill.
Me too. Absolutely. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time and or money to?
Right now, it's called Austin Pets Alive. There are a lot of
Thank you for doing
stranded
that.
pets.
What is that, a no-kill shelter in Austin?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
exactly
I
it.
have
And they,
volunteered there. Okay, so I'm going to break my own thing. When I speak in cities, right? My agent's blessed to line me up with speaking events everywhere. When I go to Austin, when I went to Austin, one, I try to find a jujitsu place because I'd like to grow, and there's fantastic jujitsu with B team and everything else there, blah, blah, blah. But then I also find a pet rescue because when you speak and you're on the road, you have a lot of free time. So if I walked in there and said, "Hey, I'm here. I'm on behalf of Susan Hensley. I'm here to speak on behalf of her company, but I'm here on behalf of her company to volunteer for you. I'm certified to walk dogs, pick up poop in Jupiter, Florida. I was wondering if I could volunteer." So I volunteer there. They're going to call you, right? One, I love my fur babies. I have 3 adopted fur babies that are watching me right now. But 2, they're going to call you and say, "Miss Hensley, yeah, the Scott showed up. You had no idea. You're never going to hire another speaker." It was something that was brought on to me, but I've heard of them and I've been there, and that's awesome. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is freaking
It's a
amazing.
great
It's
organization.
awesome organization. It's kind of like what we have down here at Peggy Adams, which is kind of a organization for rescuing dogs and cats and fur babies. No kill shelter. I love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. So last question. You can elaborate on this one as much as you want, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh,
Come on, you're
gee.
driving in that van, going to do some reporting on
I'm
something.
guessing it's going to be, I'm guessing it's got to be 80s, right? That's just
Yeah.
when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I graduated in '90, so it's
Yeah.
like I have
Yeah.
yeah, that's my jam. And there's so much that happened in that decade, right?
Yeah.
With Invasion from U2 or Men at Work or Culture Club to our
Oh,
whole big hair, don't care people here. And it was like kind of like incarnation of rap, if you will, with Beastie
yeah.
Boys and Run DMC. It's like
Yeah.
everything that, and if you listen to songs now, Susan, you'll hear hooks from the
Yeah.
songs we grew up with. You'll hear them.
That's what I love.
Yes.
That happens all the time.
Yes.
And it is, I mean, clearly someone on the research, there must be a bunch of us out there, but
Yeah.
yes, I love it.
Yes. And it's funny that means they need more of you because their creativity is not happening these days versus what is back then. But I'm saying if they have to use a hook from back then, and you never heard hooks in songs in the 80s from the 50s and 60s. You just
No.
didn't. They wanted to get as far away from it in a sense, right? But no, that's fantastic. So Miss Susan, how can we find you?
Easy. It's just best place is my website, susan-hensley.com. You can buy the book there. Courses there. You can contact me for coaching. I answer emails.
Sure. I love it. And if you're watching Vimeo or YouTube, I'm have it on the screen right now. Beautifully set up website. Make sure you looks like you can get on our email list and get a nice little starter guide. And also you do have a course, Artful Transitions. Can you go a little deeper on Artful Transitions for us?
Yeah, the reason after writing the book and doing workshops, which only are like an hour, people wanted to go deeper. They wanted to get into, if they weren't a coaching client, they wanted to get into the values work, the what it's like to have some guidance over time as you're art
Mm,
journaling so that you can reflect, sort of tap in to, if you will, what it's telling you. And so I love the workbook that goes along with it because
sure.
it outlines a lot of what we do in coaching, right? There's
Yeah.
values clarification, there's capturing emotions, there's goal setting. And so the artful transitions really sort of allows a person to go deeper without being a direct client.
Love it. It's kind of self-paced, but you give them all the resources to make it happen then, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. And how about our awesome sauce art for your sanity? Tell us a little bit about what went into writing it and how people can use it to level up.
Sure. So the funny thing after journalism, people always say, do you want to keep writing or keep doing that? I'd say no. They'd say, do you want to write a book? I'm like, never going to write a book, right? Always so funny when we have those reactions to things.
Right.
And because I was using art journaling so often in both my corporate executive coaching and life coaching, I recognized that I wanted to put it out there in you're not an artist. This is not about becoming an artist. It is about using play, creativity, self-compassion to help you move more quickly through difficult times and manage chaos, right? The subtitle is all about unleashing joy and managing chaos. And so I sort of did the thing I said I wouldn't do. I wrote a book. It's super personal. It's a combination of my
Wow.
journey and all the brain science that goes
Sure.
deeper into why this works, right? There's some great research that explains why it works.
Right.
And yeah, put that out in the world a few months ago. So,
Now I have to add, I'm a Kindle guy. Okay, that's why I like to read my books on Kindle. Okay, but is it better? Can they get as much out of it on Kindle, or do they really need the physical? Just be honest with me, because that's what I
no,
really want to make sure
no,
that
you can
person.
get as much out of it on Kindle,
Because
right?
sometimes
It's
they have the physical book.
color,
They
you
have
see the
yeah.
pictures. I didn't do a workbook for that very reason,
Okay,
right? If
thank
someone
you.
wants a workbook, then it's in the course.
Got you. Perfect.
This is a narrative that it gives you tips and how to try, but no, you can absolutely do the e-version of
Okay.
it.
Thank you for being transparent on that.
Yeah.
So, squad, we're going to do a two paper book giveaway and also a let's do any the first and two Kindle giveaway. Just put it into any, I don't care if it's Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, text it to 561-440-3830. The keyword is rebirth. I want to hear rebirth. I want to see that in there. And if our first two people that see it, or first four people, just let me know if you want the Kindle or paperback in time to shine its dime. I'll be happy to put it in the mail and get it out to you. So, Miss Susan, need you to do one more solid for me and leave the squad with one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Okay. So think about adding some play because play, short, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, pure burst of messiness is that bridge to self-discovery.
Yes.
Play, self-discovery, short burst could be Play-Doh, skipping, singing, making a muddy mess, crayons. Try it,
Yes.
you'll get something.
And I love it. And squad, I have pages of notes that we just taken here, talked to my friend, Miss Susan here. Original career in journalism, went to the corporate world, found out, well, journalism really didn't align with her family dynamics, values, and whatnot. She moved in the corporate world, found there's also after that a need for scribbling and making a mess, making it from the analytical left side of your brain to the right, the intuition, the creativity. Let's get going. Shedding that internal credit that you have on yourself and letting it go. And doing that will help percolate creativity and unleash your greatness. When we end something, whether it's a job, whether what even a relationship, there's a mourning process, right? And this is the best time to do that. Get messy. Remember, it's hard at first, messy in the middle, but beautiful at the end. The skills you build will translate through this creativity, this messiness will translate not only into helping you, but everybody else that's around you. Give yourself permission to get started. Get out there and get it done. That perfection is not the answer. That's
Yeah.
one thing that she said. When we are rebirthing, we are not really consciously competent. So get messy. Inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? Do it, keep doing it. By the yard, it's hard. She will be remembered as somebody that is kind, period. I mean, she slid across home plate, bumped, bruised, whatnot, but she still scored, and she knew that. And she knew that she did well because she lets her freak flag fly. She is authentic. She's in service. She understands what is behind her values, and she wants you to do the same as well. Be really buy into that creativity and self-compassion, and think about adding some play to yourself, especially in a situation where it's challenging, even if it's short play, because she reminded us that it's a bridge to self-discovery. And thank you so much, Susan, for coming on. You absolutely level up your health, you level up your wealth. You're absolutely stunning, and you earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. People need to hear you. People need to see you. I can't wait to rock the stage with you very soon. And again, we absolutely love your guests. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Total pleasure.
Bye now.